Hello everyone, Dani here, and I'm back to do one of these Ask Us Anything style videos for you again. We got some positive feedback on the last one about what kind of clothes you should wear in Granada in the winter. So we're back to answer another really common question we get from readers and followers of the blog. So we often get asked, how can I come back to Spain? And this is something that is really common for people who have done a study abroad semester or year, or even after doing like a year-long Auxiliares program. So let's jump right into it. Honestly, my very first recommendation is to use the Auxiliares program. So if you're unfamiliar with what that is, we do have some other videos. We have a specific video about the pros and cons of doing this program, as well as a number of articles. So I'll link to those in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. But the main thing to know is that that's a teaching assistantship program. And it's kind of treated more like an internship than an actual job. So you would apply for a student visa, and it's relatively streamlined. Of all of your options, I would say that this is the most clear-cut, basic, the one that you're most likely to get approved for. So if you are willing to teach in the Spanish school system, I would say that this is the best option to go for. If you apply early, or if you're just not that concerned about where specifically in Spain you are assigned, you're 9 times out of 10 going to get accepted into that program. So that's the very first place I would say to start, absolutely. If you really do not want to teach, your options are going to be a bit less, they're going to be a bit more limited, let's say. But the next option perhaps would be to study. So a regular student visa for regular studies. This could be your bachelor's degree. This could be a second bachelor's degree. This could be for a master's program. And in some places, sometimes a language academy or school can sponsor you for that. And let me just throw in this caveat right here at the beginning. We are not lawyers. Neither Claudia nor I know the government laws and systems perfectly. And so absolutely, if you are looking seriously into this, we recommend that you speak with a lawyer, that you speak with somebody who's more in the know and up to date with the laws, because we could tell you what worked for us, but that doesn't mean that's what's in place now. And it also doesn't mean it's what's in place in the region of Spain where you want to apply for whatever sort of visa. So keep that in mind. If you're further along in your process, you want to be probably contacting someone directly, or if you're just starting to kind of feel out this process, I definitely recommend Spain Guru. Whether you look at their website or their Facebook group, you're going to have a lot of useful information, resources, and people there who can answer your questions in more specifics than we can. But like we said, you've got your Auxiliares student visa and you've got just a typical student visa. Those are going to be so far your best bets. If you can afford to come to Spain without earning any money for a year or however long, you can do that. You're going to also have the option for a non-lucrative visa. Now, keep in mind that this is truly supposed to be non-lucrative. That means not working remotely. That means not still, working for a company outside of Spain. It is genuinely for somebody who's wanting to just come and experience the culture and can support themselves and prove that they can support themselves otherwise. So that is perhaps an option for you, as well as if you're, further along in your life and you're looking at this more for a retirement option. There are definitely specific retirement visas as well. Additionally, there is the small possibility that you could get sponsored by a company to come here and work in Spain, but just keep in mind that this is for really specific technical positions. And in general, if you want to teach, that's probably not going to happen. If you want to work remotely, also perhaps not going to happen, but it is something that you can look into if you have a very advanced degree or just something specific that you can offer to a company that is beyond what they might be able to find from the average Spaniard or the average person from the EU. So keep in mind that if you are not from the EU, it's going to be much more difficult for a company to hire you just because of the laws that are in place. So if you do have dual citizenship with a country that's in the EU, or if you're married to someone from the EU, that's obviously going to help you out a lot as well. So keep those options available to you. And finally, I would say you also do have the possibility of like a family connection. So if your spouse or your parents, like however this works out, if somebody else is able to apply for one of these visas, you can often apply with them, that you could come along with them. So this goes, for example, if your husband or wife is able to get one of the visas to study, to work, whatever, you can often go along with them. But that's going to be like a non-lucrative sort of situation in general. Like I said, check with a lawyer. But this is also something you could use if you have a child and you want to bring your family along. But just keep in mind that it's not always the exact same thing. So if one person's getting a work visa, that doesn't mean that the other person is necessarily. And one final thing to keep in mind is that with the student visas, there is a separate additional process you could go through to get limited work permission. So on Auxiliares or on a different student visa, you can generally apply to get a 20-hour per week work permit. And what this means is that you can then have those amount of hours in addition to your studies that you can get paid for. You can be legally hired by a company. Most often it's going to be a language academy or somebody asking you to teach English, but it could be any job that you qualify for. And 20 hours per week might not sound like a lot, but I will consider, here in Granada, it's a pretty low cost of living, and therefore the salaries kind of equate to that as well. So it's a pretty low per hour rate, but you might make 10 euros per hour in an academy, and that's 200 euros a week. And that becomes probably like 800 euros a month. That is substantial. Is something you could live off of as a single person. I wouldn't say that you could necessarily support a family or even like a partner on that, but it is something to be aware of, that is a option for you if you wanted to come and study and then work just part-time. That could be a great way to go. So I hope that answers your questions. Like I said, do not take our word for it. Make sure that you find out what the rules are in the specific place you want to go. So Spain certainly has like overarching laws, but then each region does things along their own guidelines as well. So be sure to look further into it, but I hope that this video has given you some ideas of the different options you have. And then of course check out our other articles and videos as well. Hasta luego!